Producing Stargate SG-1 each week is like living in dog years. For every season we do, we age 7 years. So we're all actually 49 years older than you might think.
Probably my only demand as, I guess, the head of a show is just to make sure that people enjoy coming to work. So far, they all seem to.
It's insane. We're shooting all over the map. It's weird because they're now in stage 6, which was one of our stages. And so at any given time when you're standing outside the studio, you'll see the red light flashing and not know which show is shooting.
I'm okay with longer hours because I have a TV in my office. And I think as we speak, I'm having a toilet installed in my office, right where my desk chair used to be.
The most exciting thing about being able to produce a show like Stargate, especially in season 8, is you're really pushing the envelope on all kinds of filmmaking, mainly in the use of computer-generated effects and compositing with matte paintings and just combining all those elements together to create new worlds, different worlds, unique, original, creative environments.
Close the iris. Open the iris. That's pretty much my job, right there.
One of the biggest first things that we had to address was obviously replicating the look from the feature film. So we had to try to replicate the look of the puddle.
It's a great device for a series because you can instantly walk through this portal and be exposed to these various types of cultures.
Getting to that point was really interesting, and that has been an evolving process, and now we finally got to get there. The next biggest hurdle that we've kind of tried to make strides in for visual effects was Thor.
Oh, yeah. This over here is for the various blinks, but also a lot of different expression, you know, widening the eyes, narrowing the eyes, and that has to be coordinated at the same time.
The replicator shows that we've done over the years, we've been nominated for Emmys for those, and Geminis, and all sorts of things. So that's been really, really great to be involved in.
It's just a great testing ground to try and realize those kind of futuristic visions.
It's so much fun doing this show, and especially because most of the time I get a lot of the big two-parters. The rule is when you get a big two-parter is that every 4.5 seconds something has to explode. And that's sort of a rule I made up, but it's a good rule, I think, and it's one I try to stick by.
Adventure is important. Going out into space is important, and ancients and civilizations and jumpers and action, all that stuff is cool. But if you don't care about the characters, it's all meaningless.
You know, too bad I can't show you a preview of season 8.
He sacrificed himself to save us, all of us.
Thor, you're the only one who can save Colonel O'Neill.
A Gould wants to arrange a treaty with us.
Not just one Gould, all of them.
This year, you're gonna get even more Stargate with the premiere of Stargate Atlantis. I'm talking about a whole new galaxy, a new world, and an awesome new look. It's kind of like new shoes, only better.
For Atlantis, we went up to this glacier and shot the opening title sequence for the pilot, and also the drone attack on John Shepard and Jack O'Neill.
I spent close to, I'd say, 6.5 or 7 hours in the helicopter itself, just riding around for the joy of it.
He had such a good time up there, and Joe Flanagan as well.
I actually have to admit that that's kind of one of the high points of the whole 8 years.
Out with the old and with the new, baby. Yeah, talk to me in 8 years.
Who's going to complain about doing a bunch of chopper scenes with MacGyver?
Got a lot. That was different.
For me, not so much.
Now look at this. You are watching the entire set of Stargate Atlantis being built. I mean, these people never took a break. Except, of course, for a hockey game.
Finally, we discovered the lost city of Atlantis, but there's a few changes I wanted to make. So if we could, yeah, a little further to the left. Keep going with that. That's great. Yeah.
The sets are just fantastic. They're just great. It helps me to paint a larger picture of, obviously, my world. And this is vastly different from where I come from, where Taylor comes from.
We're having loads of fun, and they have done so much work. It's a beautiful set. We hope that we can keep your interest after fabulous Stargate.
Hello, and welcome, fellow space travelers. I've snuck into the control room here just to give you guys a little basic rundown of, the way things work here. First off, you'll notice that all of these panels are lit from below. Some people think that's a lighting issue and that it makes, it makes these look more realistic and more sort of sci-fi. Actually, the reason they're lit like that is because I can place a coffee on here. It will remain warm throughout the scene. This very high-tech looking device, usually used just to connect to the rest of the Atlantis city, is actually a direct connection to my manager and my agent when the obvious problems occur with other cast members, possibly like a tuna sandwich that may not be tasting quite right, that sort of stuff. This over here, actually, most people believe that this is a 3D map of Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis. Not so. As it turns out, this is actually a beautifully rendered 3D map of my Malibu home. You'll notice the bedroom is the largest section in the center, and let me tell you, it gets a lot of action.
Atlantis is a really challenging project. There's a lot of visually challenging, a lot of visually difficult things in it. The main one is, of course, the city coming out of the water. Water has always been difficult. We know the water's going to be difficult, so let's just admit that. But let's try and come up with the coolest looking shots that we can. So we've decided to bring the city up at sunrise because it's difficult. They needed to come up with an adversary, the Wraith, who were sufficiently powerful that they could have defeated the ancients, but who are sufficiently stupid that we can outwit them on a week-to-week basis. And that's pretty tricky. It comes out in the first episode that the Wraiths can project illusions where you think you see them, but they're not really there.
They travel in these ships, and actually over here are some of the first charcoal sketches of what we thought would be the Wraith fighter craft and the mothership. The mothership is massive, and it has landed on a planet long enough while they slept. The trees have grown on the actual ship itself, obscuring it, so you don't even realize what you're into until you're right on their front doorstep, and then, of course, ultimately by then it's probably too late.
You want the real lowdown on the new Stargate Atlantis? Stay tuned.
The best part about it is running around with large artillery pieces.